A very good noon to all of you. How are you all? I welcome you to our ongoing series 500 Most Expected CAT Questions. And today is the part 3 for your VARC, right? So you've already had two sessions that must have given you some idea of the kinds of questions that come in CAT, right? How you should approach these questions. So we will build on that today. Okay? Hi, Indian. Hello, Arman. Hi, Sonali. How are you all? Okay, so we will talk about comprehension skills today, of course, because reading comprehension forms an essential part of your CAT exam. Two-thirds of your VRC section is reading comprehension. And because parajumbles are also such an important part of it, that's why we'll talk about organization skills also, arranging sentences into the correct order. And of course, how will we talk about them? Through questions. Hi, Sai, how are you? Okay. All right. So, what are the skills that are needed? I think you must have got an idea from what I just showed you. First of all, comprehension, because the key to attempting any question, and in fact, this is not just for CAT VARC, it's for it is equally applicable to DILR. Unless you understand the question, how are you going to attempt it? Unless you understand that case, how are you going to solve it? Same goes for an RC passage. Same goes for a para summary question, or for that matter, a para jumble question. You first have to understand it. You first have to get an idea about it, right? You have to understand the main idea of that paragraph, of that passage. The second skill is organization. Now, while it is particularly applicable to para jumbles, it is also applicable to para summary and RC passage questions, because you should be able to understand how the author has arranged his or her thoughts, how the author has built his or her story. If I asked you to draw a skeleton of this passage for me, what would you draw? Right? Is it a problem solution paragraph? Is it a compare contrast paragraph? Is it an introduction, elaboration, and then conclusion paragraph? So, what is the structure of the paragraph of the passage? Understanding that is important if you want to solve certain questions, let's say logical structure in RC passages, even a lot of your inference questions or main idea questions, they depend on understanding how the author has arranged his or her thoughts, right? And of course, for your parajumbles, big time. Okay, so the next skill that you need is retention. So a lot of students tell me that I read an RC passage, but I'm not able to remember what I have read. Okay, so this skill is retention. And how do you improve at retention? For instance, you have to make a conscious effort for it. So for instance, today you read an article, then close that article and recall the ideas, the key ideas of that article. See how many you are able to recall, right? So probably out of 5 on the first day you're able to recall 3. Okay, then gradually, so do this exercise every day and gradually you will see your attention improves. So the more you read and recall after reading, the more your attention improves. And of course, the biggest of all, application, because ultimately you have to solve questions on the basis of these RC passages that you read. So solving questions through elimination. So this application is again an important skill that you need for VARC in CAT. Tone of the passage questions, Kushagra. I am sure that if you're solving CAT RC passages, in the new CAT RC passages, you will not find tone of the passage questions specifically. However, understanding the tone of the passage helps you to solve other questions, right? In case you're solving some non-CAT papers and there you're struggling with the adjectives because of vocabulary. So let's say you have words such as acerbic, right? You have words such as, let's say, trenchant. So here it then becomes a vocabulary question. It's more about knowing the meanings of these words. Once you know the meanings of these words, you'll be able to eliminate two options usually pretty easily. Okay. And then it comes down to seeing which is closer. So for instance, while acerbic is harsh criticism, trenchant on the other hand is very incisive, very analytical criticism. So you see what I did? I just recalled the dictionary definitions of both. Both refer to criticism. But while one is very harsh, it will be to the point of being rude, the other is more analytical, more incisive. So I'll then match which one my passage matches more, right? So this is how you solve tone of the passage questions. Uh, Okay, okay. Yes, Sonali, we're unable to underline ideas in the exam also. So that is why the effort should be to record them mentally. You know, you make a mental underline of those ideas, right? So this is a challenge when we have a screen-based test, but we have to cope with it. That we recall it, we basically record it mentally and then are able to recall it, right? So use underlining as maybe a crutch initially, but don't make it a habit that you're dependent on, right? Okay. So let's see how our organization skills are, right? Let's look at a parajumble question. Here you have to arrange the sentences. Four sentences are given to you. No options, just like in CAT you have no options. And tell me what should be the correct sequence here. Yes. I've got my first sequence. Okay. Others. All right. Hmm. What do the others say? Sonali. Okay. All right. Kushagra has also answered. Pratik, what do you say? Arman. Okay, Pratik has also answered. All right. Arman, you are left. So, in your responses, I see that one sentence is misplaced. I mean, in some responses, one sentence is misplaced, and some two are misplaced. Let's have a look. So, see this. I am happy that all of you identified that three is the opening sentence because this is what we are talking about in the rest of the sentences also. Life in a rural Kashmiri village, right? So, perfect. Okay. Now, some of you have jumped to one after three, but tell me, three talks about life in a rural Kashmiri village in a positive sense, in a positive way. It seems idyllic. Something that is idyllic is just beautiful. Okay. Uh, it's beautiful in a very ideal way. That is idyllic. It has a rustic beauty to it. So it seems idyllic to Shalini at first, as she is befriending lovely people and admiring majestic natural scenery, especially in contrast to the cacophony, the harsh sounds of urban Mumbai. Okay, the noise of urban Mumbai. So we are talking about the rural Kashmiri village in a positive light. Now, if I jump to one, it says people here. Here means in Kashmir, in the rural Kashmiri village, right? Or in Kashmir. People here are one injury away from starvation, one misspoken word away from detainment or death. Okay, so we can't just jump to something negative from something so positive. We need two in between. Soon, however, she notices. So, first she thinks, oh, everything is perfect. Soon, however, she notices the lack of access to basic medical care or education. Okay, there is not even basic medical care. So, that is why people are, people are facing these challenges because of the access to basic amenities. So, two and then one, right? After this, moreover, the ever present political disruptions mean, just a second. So 3, 2, the ever present, that life in Kashmir is, yes, 3, 2, and then 4 and 1. Because 4 and 1 both are negative, right? So to jump from positive to negative, I need a contrasting word. Once I've done that, then I'll have to check the theme. So for instance, I just read 4. It talks about the ever present political disruptions. Okay, that there are ever present political disruptions in Kashmir, and that is why life there is far from a utopia, far from perfect. Okay, then I explain this in one, that they are one injury away from starvation, one misspoken word away from detainment or death. That means they say something wrong and they can be subjected to death. By whom? By, let's say, the police, the army, right? So that's why political disruptions will come first, and then this is a consequence of the political turmoil there, right? So this represents a consequence, and that's why it will be 3, 2, 4, 1. Okay, perfect, perfect. All right. So Prateek, Kushagra, you've got this right now. Is this clear to everybody? I need a contrasting word when I switch from positive to negative, right? Okay. Now, coming to our next question, again a para jumble. Right. So this time I'll also read this with you. Yes. Let's see what you say. A good question, Sonali. I'll address this. Okay, so what do you say for this one? Okay. All right. Okay. Good. So see, even though the sentences here are long, right? You must have felt that when you read the third sentence, for instance, yet because of the clues that are present, you are able to organize the ideas of the author. Okay, so that is why please be very alert towards such clues. So, for instance, this led to an ongoing debate. What? On the basis of this work. Which work? Okay, when I say other researchers, that means I have talked about a researcher earlier, right? Or some other researchers earlier. So, these are very important clues that we should be alert towards. And you are absolutely right. Your sequence is 3, 1, 4, 2. Those who said 3, 1, 4, 2, absolutely correct. See, 3, it actually again introduces what we are discussing here, the definition of morality, or how young children, they react so differently when asked about moral transgressions and conventional transgression. Transgression is a violation, right? So 3 is the topic sentence. Then we are talking about that Turiel and his collaborators, they borrowed some ideas, they conducted a series of experiments. So on the basis of this work, the experiments that were conducted, he proposed and defended a definition of morality according to which moral transgressions involved harm, injustice, or the violation of rights. So he did this on the basis of this work. Then other researchers, they kind of contradicted him. They said that, Turiel's definition. So see, in the previous one, he gave a definition. So now these researchers said that, his definition has some flaws. Okay, what is the flaw? That it does not travel well. Okay, because people in non-Western cultures, they differ from Western cultures in how and what number of transgressions they treat as moral transgressions, right? So 4, and this contradiction, this led to a debate, right? When somebody contradicts you, that's when a debate starts. So 3142 and not 3124. Right? So this was my attempt to show you that sometimes while the sentences appear long, do not just leave that parajumble just by looking at it. Right? The parajumble may in fact be easy. Okay. Now Sonali asked, can I start the parajumble by looking for the opening sentence? See, definitely that's one way to solve it. However, let me tell you, if the opening sentence is pretty clear cut, then very good. So for instance, in both our parajumbles, there was a very clear cut opening sentence because that is what talked about the topic. So in such cases, great. But don't be very stubborn about finding the opening sentence, because remember, this is just a paragraph. It's not an entire essay. So sometimes there may not be a very clear cut opening sentence. Moreover, the opening sentence itself may have words such as moreover, because it might be continuing a previous paragraph, right? So don't be very stubborn about first finding the opening sentence and then solving. Rather follow this pair approach. Okay, 1 4 related pair, 4 2 related pair. So follow this mandatory pair approach. Okay. Now let's look at a para summary question and let's see how our comprehension skills come into the picture when we have to summarize a paragraph. So here's the paragraph for you. These are the 4 options. Let me see what you say. Yes. What do you say? Okay. Kushagra says fourth. Pratik says 2. All right. Astha says 3. That's it, three responses. Sonali, what do you say? Sonali says four. All right. Okay, let's discuss. So, see this. Here, it's very important. Let me just see if anyone said two here. Pratik said two. So, I understand you're marking two, but you have to realize that two is false. Why? Because in the paragraph I said the ruler so inaugurated, the ruler, the king or the ruler, whoever this person was, the ruler was regarded as the instrument of the protective and sheltering sky of supreme law, right? So it was not the umbrella that was the instrument. We treated the ruler as the instrument, okay, of the protection provided by supreme law. So he was the instrument. Through him that protection was being given to us through the ruler. So this therefore is false, because the white umbrella didn't provide us protection, the ruler did. Now, one, it does not tell us about the non-theocratic. Theocratic is rule by religion, okay, rule by God actually. So theocracy is rule by God, but because God can't rule, so holy people who are treated as representatives of God rule by them. So this umbrella, it does not talk about how it represented a non-theocratic nature of states. That okay, because it was a common practice in all types of regimes, be it a let's say a Hindu regime, be it a Marathi regime, be it a Muslim regime. So here different regimes have been given to us. So we are talking about the non-theocratic nature. This is an important point here. So one is eliminated. 3. The umbrella, not necessarily a white one, was a symbol of sovereign political authority. While this is not incorrect, this is written here that okay, the umbrella was a symbol, but here again, if you see, the white umbrella was a symbol of sovereign political authority. So the umbrella, not necessarily a white one, is found across regimes, but we are calling the white umbrella a symbol of sovereign political authority. So in a sense, even this becomes false. The answer is 4 here. The varied use of the umbrella symbolized the common basis of the non-theocratic nature of states in the Indian tradition. So 4 is the one that is not false, and that is also capturing majority, if not whole, of the paragraph. Okay. All right, perfect, Kushagra. So fourth is the answer. So I hope these short questions showed you how comprehension skills and organization skills become important when it comes to VARC. Now let's talk about the application. Although we have applied it to questions here also, let's apply this to an RC passage, and their retention skills will also come into play. It will also matter how much you retain after reading the passage. Right. So here's a passage. I have brought an easy passage for you. It is topical. It is not at all philosophical. So you will not face a problem in comprehending the passage as such. Right. So I expect a good accuracy from you today. Let's start reading. So once you're done with this paragraph, you have to tell me. I'll go to the next slide. Yes. Done. Good, Sonali. Others? Okay. Done this one. Sonali says done. Others? Perfect. Okay. Others? Perfect. Last paragraph. Okay. Others? So this passage was 500 words. So this is the word count that we expect in your CAT exam as well, right? 500 to 550 words. All right. Sorry, this is just a repetition. Yes. Look at the first question. Now, tell me what the answer should be. It is straightforward, but if you want to go back, you can tell me. Let's see what you say. Quick, quick. This is not difficult at all. Okay. All right. Prateek has answered. Others? Okay. All right. So three responses I've got. Astha, what do you say? All right. Kushagra says A. Okay. So first of all, uh, I want to know how many of you read this with concentration? How many of you, on the other hand, read with a lot of breaks, your mind wavered, right? Because see, this question, if I talk about the first question, this is actually a question that if you read the passage carefully, no, even if you read portions of the passage carefully, then you should have got this correct, right? So we are talking about the fact that here there are very detailed operating procedures. Remember, so this entire paragraph talks about how detailed the operating procedure is and how is it evolved. So we are actually calling the workers on the shop floor as a community of scientists that are carrying out several small experiments simultaneously. What do? Often in teams, they design the operating procedure jointly with the supervisor through a series of hypotheses that are proposed and validated or refuted through experiments in action, right? So they keep on reiterating the procedure. They accept some parts, reject some parts, and then evolve a procedure that they finally follow, right? So it is this problem solving approach, evolving solutions at the shop floor, which is what makes Toyota's model an asset for itself, right? This is what makes it an asset for itself, and that's why it is able to deliver products that they match the customer's exact specifications, even in a batch size of one, right? So it's not about having large scale complex manufacturing systems. No, that is not the asset here. Okay. uh, it is rather the that every shop floor there is this reiteration that is going on. So the ability of the workers to evolve solutions to problems, to reiterate with the procedure, okay, to develop solutions and finally evolve an operating procedure. So C is going to be our answer here, right? The company's management was not the focus in the passage. If you noticed, it was the workers that were the focus. So it's not about the top leadership or the management at all, right? So C is going to be the answer here. Let's have a look at the next one. If you have any queries, if reading the passage posed a challenge, you can always tell me in the chat box and we can discuss it. So here's a question. It's an inference question. That is what the question stem tells me. That which of the following can be inferred as a precondition, a prerequisite, a necessary requirement before something happens for the Toyota type of production system to work? Yes, this is manner. Okay, got one answer. All right. Okay. So we just saw the first question, and there I told you that it's not the management or the top leadership that is the focus as such. So existence of powerful management to create unique strategies, no. The strategies are being created at the shop floor. Right. Higher management involvement, we see that high management is not involved. There's not high in management involvement, sorry. So high management involvement, no, it's rather the workers along with the supervisor. So supervisor is there, but the focus is again on the workers. So there's not high management involvement. Okay. Moreover, we did not see the passage discussing any kinds of disputes happening, or let's say preventing the possibility of disputes between workers and the management. So industrial peace is related to maintaining peace between these two parties. So that is not the point of discussion at all. So I would call this alien, not discussed in the passage. D is our answer. Excellent. Those who said D, management's faith in the workers' ability. See, because it's the workers who are solving problems at the shop floor. So management needs to have faith in them that, okay, they will solve the problems. Then only the system can work. Okay, otherwise it can't. So D, Delhi, it was very closely related to the first question that you just attempted. Okay, all right. Now, let's have a look at this. Again, lengthy sentences, but probably the question is easy, yes? So don't go by the length of the sentences, just read them and tell me that based on the passage, which of the following statements is best justified? So there are two options that can be very easily eliminated in this. Yes? Okay. All right, so it's A versus C in the chat box, and I'm happy because B and D can be eliminated, right? Managers have significant control rights over the design of work rules that allow workers' skills and ingenuity, their originality, to continuously search for no. This is not given actually, that managers have significant control rights. Okay, it is the workers who have significant rights. So A is the answer. You're absolutely correct. B and D could be easily eliminated because we did not discuss testing by customers in the passage. We did not discuss managers having significant control rights. Between A and C, A is better definitely because this is again not discussed that workers report the problems to specialized personnel. No, they themselves solve those problems. Okay, so they're not reporting the problems to some experts. They are themselves solving those problems by various iterations, right? So A is our answer here, right? So even though the options were lengthy, you could eliminate B just by reading the first few words. D could also be eliminated in a similar manner. Here you have to read till here, and the moment you read specialized personnel, you realize that it's not true. So A, perfect. Now coming to the fourth one, and if you see all these questions that we've done so far, they're related to this key idea of the passage that in Toyota's production system, it is the workers that have significant control rights. They solve the problems at the shop floor, and there, and by solving those problems by developing hypotheses, then validating or refuting them, they evolve an operational procedure, an operating procedure. Right. Now, this is a specific idea question. It says, what could be the best justification of the different work norms in contiguous? Now, vocabulary comes into the picture. Contiguous means adjacent, and understanding this is important in solving this question. So, different work norms in contiguous assembly lines. What is the best justification of that? Read the options, and in such cases, in case you're not able to, let's say, figure out the answer or you're doubtful, you should go back to the passage. So, read it and then we'll go back. Okay. Read the options. Do you want to go back to this area where this is written? All right. So Sai and Astha have answered. Others? Sonali also says B. Okay. All right. So again, see, if you understood the main idea of this passage, you would be able to attempt all the four questions based on this passage. That's the power of understanding the main idea and then retaining it also, right? Not forgetting it. So, if you look at some of the options, they can be very easily eliminated. For instance, D. D is rather weakening this idea. It's not justifying this idea, right? A is again false. Rights of manager to design work rules? No, we talked about the rights of workers to design work rules. Between B and C, again, C does not explain why the rights of workers then would have made very little sense. So it does not really explain if similarities were imposed, why they would make very little sense. It is only B that is explaining it, justifying it, which is what we had to do, right? Because they face different kinds of problems. Okay, and therefore, if we give them, that's where different work norms emerge. Okay, so B Bangalore is the answer here. Perfect. So this was a passage for you. This was easy to moderate, right? 500 words, just like CAT, four questions, just like CAT previous years, a couple of years, right? And I hope this gave you an insight into how to comprehend, how to then apply it to questions. Very important, these two skills are. Also, I want you to read with concentration because I felt that in the beginning, some of you got the first question wrong because of a concentration issue there, right? So develop that concentration, keep reading, and read every day for a particular chunk of time. Ideally, minimum 40 minutes is what you should read for, because your VRC section is also for 40 minutes, okay, or 40 minutes. And read with a sense of urgency here, with no distractions. This is what you have to do. Okay. All right. So these are our CAT 2022 toppers. You can, I think by now you're familiar with their faces. You can also be one of them by joining our comprehensive program. And a lot of features are available here. Okay. A lot of material for practice, expert guidance, recorded sessions, live sessions. Okay. So explore this. The link is in the description box. And to make this accessible, we also have a scholarship for you. So 15th of April, you can take the scholarship test at 7 p.m. And if you score well, you can get up to a 90% scholarship. Also, in case you are uh, confused about your test taking strategy, right? If you want to know which all B schools accept the CAT score, okay, which all B schools you can target, right? All these questions you have in mind. Okay, wait, this is today itself, okay, at 7 p.m., right? So not much time left. You can register right now. Also, we are launching this very anticipated, highly anticipated series, 100 most expected CMAT questions. Okay, so it's starting from tomorrow. You should join it. Okay, you'll be notified of the sessions. And yes, so all of you who are waiting for CMAT sessions, this is for you. Also, again, if let's say material or questions for practice is your concern, then we have daily section wise quizzes on our app. You can just download the app, and there in the practice tab, you will find these quizzes. This is our ongoing series. Of course, you're attending this. So keep attending these questions, and we'll cover approximately 500 questions with you. That's a significant amount of practice before CAT. Okay. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Welcome, Maitri. Right. So, I hope you followed us on various social media platforms. If not, you can. And I'm very sure that you've already subscribed to the YouTube channel so that you get notifications for various sessions that come up. Right. Also, for the quizzes, you can download our app. This is it from my side for today. I'll see you next time. Yes, and I'll see you with some CMAT sessions now. Bye bye. Keep practicing. Happy reading and solving. Bye.